What's up, guys? Jason Cardamone here. And I know it's been a while, guys. Why we're here today is I wanted really just to catch up with you. I know some of you are brand new to my list. Some of you have been on here for years. And if you have been here for any, more than a couple of months, you're probably asking, what the heck has Jason been up to? Why have we not heard from him more? And so what we're going to do here is just I'm going to run through basically the last 4 months of my life with you guys. And it's really I always create an intention around every video. So how this is going to work is I've created this intention and I'm going to deliver that intention to you and share that with you. And that's really the whole point of this video. So, and we're, as we're going through this, you're going to learn exactly, how this whole thing's going to play out. So it's really, what the content of what we're going to cover, it's all about catching up. It's all about, what I've been up to the last 4 months. And more importantly, because I know, most of you guys don't really care what I've been up to. You care about what can I provide to you and what lessons can I teach you. And I'm not here to sell anything in this video. I don't think I am. That's not one of my intentions. Now, if something gets sold along the way, what if I end up selling you your freedom? And I'm not talking about joining some business. What if I teach you a lesson that really allow to be a catalyst in your life to go out and change things? And that's, that stuff happens all the time at the craziest moments. Kind of like, that's actually a great, entry right into the 4 months ago where, so I'll take you guys back to, now I have to get my timeline straight here. So beginning of June, late May, I decided to, so I know that's more than 4 months. We're actually going to go back 6 months for that. So back at the beginning of June or late May somewhere, I decided to do this 90-day challenge from something I was involved with back then. So, we're back in June, really struggling financially. Money's going up and down. I think June itself was actually a pretty good month because I just launched a product with the company I was with. So I think our income was, higher than our bills that month. But throughout the first part of 2000 and whatever year we're in, 2014, that we had really struggled financially. And if this is if this is the bills overall, which were slightly going up, our kids are growing up and they're eating more, they just cost more money. But if that was like the steady thing, income overall through the majority of 2014, the first part was lower than the bills. And June happened to be a month where it was a little bit higher, but still we were negative over this year so far, up to that point. This is up to June. So created this 90-day challenge. I'm gonna go focus on this Amazon selling stuff for 90 days. And I dive into it, really start modeling, getting mentored from some of the best Amazon sellers in the whole world. And 2 months into it, I'm about 60 days into it, or right near the 60-day mark. And by the way, the goal was to create a brand new stream of $10,000 per month income. And so that was the goal back in June. So I go through June and I'm getting towards the end of July and I'm just looking at everything, and I didn't create a brand new stream of $10,000 a month. I did a bunch of research, spent those 2 months, and really created not really any positive income, but a lot of potential for new growth. But I also am very realistic, and I realize I'm not going to make $10,000 in August using that stuff I've been my head buried in all summer. And that was a stem of stuff I've been learning all throughout basically the first half of 2014. So if we're going to categorize parts of these last 4 months for me, these last 4 months starting on July 30th have took a drastic change from that story I was painting from the first part of this year. But the first part of this year, I guess, if you could call it anything, would be, if we were to put a label to things, it'd be called struggle, confusion, frustration, massive pain. There's a lot of things. Growth, a lot of growth came out of it. Not nearly the growth like the last 4 months, which have really just been the biggest 4 months of my life literally in every sense of the word. Physically, financially, spiritually. Physically, maybe that's probably not completely fair because I have not put as much focus on my physical health the last 4 months as far as workouts go. But as far as nutrition and things, definitely my eyes were just drawn to this. This stuff is expensive. And this is Vega Protein and Green, something I found in the store. This little can, and it only has like 21 servings. This thing is it's like $50 or something. Maybe it's 30, 40. I don't even know what it is, but when you buy enough things like that are healthy to put in your body, they're expensive. And so one thing that we've been fortunate, those goals that I had set early June, I hit this 90-day plan. We've been fortunate to really have a major, it's the kind of turn in income that I had always dreamed about, and I always knew was possible, but the kind of turn in income where I kind of like, you can't make that much income that quickly. Well, that was my old story, and that was the story that I had grown to where, 10 years ago, 8 years ago, when I was first learning about personal development and setting goals, I was shooting for the stars. And I didn't know it was going to take me 8.5 years to finally get towards the stars. But this whole last 4 months has been a lifelong worth of lessons just culminating all together. And so let's rewind back to the summer. I set this 90-day goal. About 60 days into it, realized there's no way in that final 30 days am I going to create a new $10,000 in income. So that's where I'm at on the night of July 30th. Very, very interesting twist to this whole story is that on July 30th, the day of July 30th, that morning, I had been, I believe it was a Wednesday, and you can look up if you care about dates and all that kind of stuff. I know that, let's see, July 30th has 31 days, so 31st would have been a Thursday, 1st would have been a Friday, 2nd, yes, that's correct. So I'm almost positive July 30th was a Wednesday. So that morning, I'm on the phone with somebody around this Amazon stuff, and I place a significant order. Thousands of dollars worth of stuff is coming into my house that I'm going to label and brand and do all this magical stuff I learned to do and send it into Amazon, and they were going to sell it for me. I knew I wasn't going to make 10 grand out of it, definitely not in that first 30 days. And really not even over months to come, but it was going to plant seeds and foundations of a new income stream that could turn into $10,000, $20,000 a month and well beyond that over a long time with a lot of focus and a lot of some potential risks in there and all kinds of stuff. So part of the risk being massive investments and massive research and stuff up front. So I'd done all that stuff, put all this money down on July 30th. Now, you ever have those moments in your life, where you look back and you're like, you had one plan, 90-day plan, you have an intention, you're doing something, even taking action on it, and something just happens and everything changes. So one of those moments just happened to me in September this year, and my family's in a T-bone car accident out of nowhere. We're just driving. It's a weekend. I believe it was September 7th, and somebody pulls right. We have a green light. This light had been green from seconds and seconds and, probably a minute to come. Had stayed green. We're approaching a green light going through it, and someone pulls right in front of us. We're going about 40 miles an hour and smash into the side of this car. We didn't plan that out, but that did change the course of our coming months. And kind of like back in July 30th, that we didn't plan, I didn't plan out in business that I was going to place a significant commitment in order, and then the night of July 30th was going to have someone I greatly respected in business, Christian, was going to call me and really set my life off on a completely different path. And I didn't know everything that was going to be happening, but that's what I'm going to share with you guys these last 4 months. And I didn't plan to give you so much background, so I'm going to start moving a lot quicker through categorizing these months and just tell you a few select stories and things that have happened, and really teach you some lessons along the way as we're catching up on everything been happening. So what basically happened, Christian called me, set me on a brand new path. And some of you guys know this, some of you don't at all, but I end up getting thrown into a world that I didn't know at the time, but it just changed everything that day. That call with Christian changed everything. It spurred off a few new things, but he basically said, you need to go to San Diego this weekend. I'm like, dude, just spent like thousands of dollars, like commitment, all the stuff. I've been working on this Amazon stuff. Like, what do you mean I need to go to San Diego? What does that have to do with selling stuff on Amazon? And short answer was, it doesn't. But it does have to do with this. There's this genius guy, Matt. He's one of the best SEO guys in the world. We have this amazing idea, and I'm super intrigued because it's stuff that I've owned 2 SEO companies. It's internet marketing stuff, big thinking, big ideas. That's the world. That's what I love. That's the worlds I live in. I'm like, dude, fine. I don't know how I'm going to get out there. We're struggling for money, but dude, we're going to find a way. We got to get out there. So a couple days later, I find myself in San Diego meeting people on that Friday night, August 1st. A lot of people I didn't know. I knew a couple people. And what I didn't know was happening was my whole life was shifting onto a whole new direction. And I'm not going to go into all the details of what happened that weekend and all, like it was amazing. But it was, I saw some things and I heard some information that weekend where I just felt I needed to make a massive change. Have you ever you felt something in your heart and you knew it was the right thing and you had to make changes? You had to go with it? You're just being called. The best way I know how to explain it, guys, that this is what I was saying several times and what I told people all throughout August and random conversations since. That weekend, what I felt as if it was God's finger on my head, and instead of pointing down this Amazon road, he was pointing me in this new direction. He was like, dude, look at this stuff. And I don't know if you know, that's how God talks. He says, dude. I don't know if you saw that in your Bible. So it's like, dude, you got to go check this out. And that's the choice I made. And I literally felt called to do that. And it made no logical sense. It was not anything to do with this 90-day plan, and I'm sitting here around day 60 like, dude, there's no way I'm going to make this new $10,000. So what happened was that you fast forward and what August meant, so that would be month 1, because we're now here, this all started beginning August. So August 2nd, I'm in this dark room and I meet this Matt guy who I'd heard his name for years, but really get to meet him and see into his heart and feel where he's coming from and realize what really happened, guys, was seeds were planted. So if we were to label the month of August, so first part of 2014, massive struggle, frustration, really failure financially in a lot of ways, really a lot of I don't even have the words for it, but borrowing money from my parents who really didn't have any to borrow in the first place, and then having to borrow again, and then having to borrow again, and really like, shit, Dad, I thought this Amazon stuff is it. I actually still think it's going to be it, but we're not quite there. I just need a little more time. And I know you guys don't have money and you're still trying to pay back to their loans. And guys, I'm sorry. I'm getting really emotional because in these last 4 months, literally, it's as if the whole world's been flipped all the way around. Because long story short is in August, that last 30 days of my 90-day challenge I had set, Amazon didn't make me a $10,000 new stream of income. Neither did drop shipping or any of the stuff I had been doing the first part of this year. But I did make more than $10,000 in a new stream of income that had nothing to do with anything I focused on the whole first year. Brand new thing, month number 1. And I'm not supposed to make income claims, and I'm not going to make a claim. I'm just going to tell you I made far greater than new $10,000 worth of income in the first 30 days, in less than 30 days. In fact, it was like in 25 days or less or something. I think it was actually 22 days if we actually look at so in 3 weeks. And so August was seeds being planted, new beginnings, the moment, the decision, I guess if you were to label August. And so what's ironic, I remember somewhere in there, I realized what had happened, and it blew my mind. I looked back, I'm like, oh my God, I created this 90-day game plan, which back when I created it was a big stretch. And even though I didn't make it and I was 2/3 of the way through, something happened and I did make it. What was the goal? Make $10,000 in a new stream of income. That was the overlying goal. I just thought it was going to come through Amazon. I didn't realize it was going to come through a brand new project. This whole project I've been heavily involved in the last 4 months. More heavily involved in anything I've ever done my entire life. So August is the beginning, the plantings, the planting of seeds, stuff like that. So let's go to September. September would be the sprint, the growth. It would be, I think September was, I have this software that measures how much I'm on the computer, what I'm doing. It actually is not measuring right now because I'm not on my phone or I'm not on my computer. So it wouldn't measure this time that I'd be doing a video or something. But I remember during 1 week, it had measured 133 hours and 59 minutes of stuff I'd done on my computer and my phone. Again, any videos or stuff like this, it didn't even measure. So there's only 168 hours in a week. So you can do the quick math there. No, I didn't sleep much, and I still haven't for 4 months. And so September was adventure. I went to Dubai. I missed a plane going to Dubai. I missed getting on a plane with all these bunch of friends and having tons of fun flying out there. But I did end up in Dubai. I did go on some ridiculous adventures and just some amazing things happened. And I even got on stage for the second time in my life there. Totally out of nowhere. And I want to thank Rich Cook, Matt Trainer for helping make that happen. And I was able to represent the entire United States of this company, and it was just it was a real honor, a huge moment. And so I don't really know what to call September besides just a month full of just killing it. I remember one main lesson I remember. So I created this team. Things were really growing in a positive direction big time. And we were going to be there for like 8 days, if I remember right, in Dubai. I don't remember all the details, but I do remember it was on September 10th, and 3 days prior I was in that T-bone car accident. And so, adventure. How much more adventurous could it be that you just go chilling out with your family, trying to spend a little bit of family time, putting in 100 plus hour weeks, and driving along, someone pulls out, you get in a T-bone car accident, your car's totaled, you'll never drive it again. Thank God everybody was okay. 3 days later, you're supposed to get on a plane, worried if you can even be on a plane with the amount of whiplash and all the stuff from the accident. And then I find myself in Dubai, meeting billionaires, going to just all this crazy stuff that, you know, stuff made like in Hollywood movies and stuff. And one of the lessons that I started to tell was, I remember going out there that being away, I knew I wouldn't have that much internet access, and I'd be so busy there, I wouldn't be on my phone and computer like I had been for like the previous 5 weeks or whatever. So I remember having this fear of like, man, is the team growth is going to die? Oh my gosh, should I even go out here? And what really happened was, the team didn't just keep the growth or whatever. They increased growth while I was out there. And so one of the lessons I learned was, I don't have to be there if I have the right kind of team and the right leadership and the right systems in place. So that was a lesson I learned while I'm there. And I get back, I'm like, dude, you guys have been killing it. And then we start killing it even further. So that was the month of September. Now let's move on to October. October would be, I want to say, routine. The real sprint, we had a big goal to reach by midnight on October 31st, Halloween. And I had some really big goals that we reached some, we exceeded some we fell a little bit short. I feel really good about the goals we had set by October 31st as a team. And it was really just a put your head down, here's our goals, what can I do right in this moment to make this goal happen? That's not a real clever, you know, summary, like a one-word summary or anything. It's just the overall theme of what October was. And I will also call October maybe the harvest. Part of it, because October, like, we talked a little bit about income. So here's a good summary, guys, of my whole life leading up to this, was that August was the biggest income month of our life up to that point. And then September was the biggest income month. Then October was the biggest income month. So it was just like blow this away, blow this away, blow this away, growth, 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 like big explosions. And to where it's literally just changed everything. Where stuff like, oh, we can finally get one of these little MacBook Airs, you know, just spend $1,000 on a computer and it's literally not a big deal. Stuff like, if I were to go pursue, by the way, guys, I'm going to rewind back to that big order I placed for Amazon on July 30th. So spent all this money, it fully committed, signed the contracts, did everything. The stuff gets on a truck on its way out here. And as I'm going to San Diego and all this other stuff, I come back from San Diego, I'm like, dude, remember God is like, dude, check this out. I was like, dude, I need to cancel this order. I already know it's on a truck. I'll pay for the shipping or whatever. They dropped the ball in there, and so I end up paying for truck shipping out here, and they make me pay even additional because they didn't cancel it at the right place and send it right back. So I had to pay for a second whole truck shipping, paid countless hundreds of dollars in freight shipping all around. But here's what I was going to say, is I could easily have just picked up that entire order and thrown some manpower at this thing and created income through that Amazon project I'd spent all that time on. But here's the reality. I literally don't have enough time and creative energy or anything to even throw at that, because the amount that I will make from that, and guys, it's thousands of dollars a month of profit. I literally don't have time to make that little amount of money. And I'm not saying this to sound, I'm not trying to make it sound like I'm not grateful. I mean, guys, I'm literally the guy. I saw a penny yesterday. I picked up the penny. I put it in my pocket. I don't take any amount of money for granted ever. But I'm trying to tell you, I'm in a new world now where the difference between making a couple of $1,000 stream of income versus a couple of $10,000, like I have to make different choices now. So that, but I do, it's, you know what, I guess to summarize kind of where I'm at today versus where I was at 4 months ago, choices is a really good work. As you become more successful, you're still going to have problems, but it's a different set of problems. So I'll tell you one of the problems I have right now. Where do I best invest my money to get the greatest return coupled with the greatest security based on what my goals are, versus where do I borrow money from because we can't pay our bills 5 months ago? How do I create extra money in the next 2 weeks to pay for our bills, which I can't? Where today, it's like, bills have nothing to do with anything. I don't even care about them. They're all paid. Everything's paid basically like the first of the month. All the bills for the whole month are already paid. Stuff like that. It's a different paradigm, but there are problems. Where do I put these resources we've been blessed with? Where do I put them to help really serve the world and the purpose that I feel like I was put here? How do I change the most lives? Who in my family, who in my influence needs money the most that we send checks to every month? Who deserves it? Who needs the most help? Stuff like that. So totally different choices, and they are problems. It's not that everything is just trouble-free. It's a different set of problems. And so it's a different set of challenges, and there's different solutions and a lot of new growth. And so a lot of new choices, should I say, a new world where I have to make a different set of choices. So anyway, we were into October, and it was really this massive sprint, massive growth, and a lot of I think that I don't even know what else to say about October. I think I meant to say October. If I said August, I meant October. So it was really just a huge sprint, massive goal in line, October 31st, and just sprinting for it, going for it, and really seeing more people go for more goals than I've ever seen in my entire life. Not even just in my immediate team that are in my immediate influence, but like the greater team. So October, November. And so we're here like in the first part of December, and November all the way up till now, which I think is December 11th. Yeah, it's December 11th. So for the last 5 weeks or so there has been a couple phases in here, but it's been a lot of reflection, resetting of new goals, adjusting, a lot of, like I've been hinting at, how do I get more efficient with the new resources we have? And guys, I'm not just talking about money, I'm talking about resources like influence. How do I better impact people and serve them in a much better way? Because the reality is my influence has grown greatly in these past 4 months. Greatly, guys. I mean, one of the things that happened those first couple weekends in August, so now let's rewind back to August, that if you've ever heard that saying around the measure of your influence or power or what, I don't even know what it is, but it's measured by your network, by the people you know. Man, my network grew in August more than it's literally ever grown. It became more powerful in the 1 month of August than ever throughout my entire life. Guys, I'm 39. 39 years of my life, in one single month, just boom, my reach, my network, the people that I have the ability, if I chose to reach through, I can do. It's amazing, and I'm super humble about that kind of stuff, and I've never. I hate even asking people for like favors of like, hey, I know you know so and so, and like people's names I'd say, you'd be like, dude, I see them on TV every day or whatever. I literally have the ability now I could call someone up on my phone right now, dude, can you get me in touch with so and so, and somebody you would, big time people that you would know. And I hate even trying to exercise that, but the reality is that's the kind of network that's come out of this, and I'll never use that stuff for granted ever. In fact, I don't think I've done any of that. I was in the car with a guy back in November, so about a month ago actually, and I wanted to work on become a better speaker, a better presenter, and I was like, dude, who teaches some good courses on this or whatever? So he starts telling me where to go to, and he's like, you know what, forget it. He calls up this guy. Next thing you know, last weekend I end up in a training with the guy that he had called on the phone, and he kind of snuck me in because I wasn't technically qualified to be in this seminar that I went to, this workshop, because I hadn't taken all the prerequisites. But I got an in. That was someone who totally helped me and totally hooked me up, directly a contact because of the network. And Rich, just want to thank you for that, dude. I'm sure Rich isn't watching this, but he totally hooked me up with just a life-changing workshop and you know, an event I was able to attend. And so that I will, and guys, I've always been transparent with you guys, so I still have to talk about this last, 4 or 5 weeks here. There's been a ton, there's been so much. I think if anything, it's been big growth, stretching of me. If anything, it has been the application of a lot of lessons and massive growth. Guys, I've been through growth, especially around leadership. Here's a great summary, especially of the past 3 weeks or so. It's been not just leadership 101. It's been leadership 303, 505, like freaking graduate degree, like doctorate degree classes in leadership. Really working with people that are among the biggest thinkers in the world, the biggest leaders in the world, and sometimes two leaders that don't see things. One is over here, one is over here, and me playing some part in us all working together. And then multiply that by other leaders of all, like, let's say 10, and now how the heck do we all work together, and me playing some kind of role in trying to get those groups coming together. It's been, and then also, those are on the bigger levels, but then also take individual, like one-on-one leadership of amazing leaders, even in my organization, and working with them to get them being their best, to get them to stretch and rise up to be their best version of themselves. And for me to try to be some kind of influence and to help lead them, to lead the leaders, kind of saying, or at least to serve the leaders, because I've always been a servant leader. That's how literally I will always be. I will never be some guy like, I am your leader. Listen, that I will never do that my entire life. Now, there is a place for that where I know I have value to offer, and a big alpha leader is, strutting their feathers and all this other stuff, where I literally have to play at their game and I have to play at their level. And it's like picture two guys in the military, like the top, I don't know what they're called, but like, picture like, I'm a big movie freak. So in A Few Good Men, you guys remember Jack, Nicholson, Nicholas, I always screw up his name. The guy, the big guy that orders the code red in A Few Good Men. If you've never seen The Money, you're like, what the hell are you talking about, Jason? So that guy, the big colonel or general or whatever he plays in that movie, and picture him butting heads with the other big guys and all these like big guys. You gotta play at, when you're dealing with a big guy like that, you don't go in all weak and like how can I serve you? There's a place for that, but a lot of it's like you got to come in with massive confidence, be like, dude, I'm here to play. So that, you know, and you got to know how to dance between all those different, you know, how to relate to people and how to, so even if you're still there to serve them, that doesn't mean you serve them softly. Sometimes you got to serve them hard. Sometimes you do have to serve softly. And sometimes you got to dance between all those within a 30-second span. So that's really been the greatest summary of the past 3 weeks or so. Beginning in November, you know, super blessed to be, it's funny, I have these things around. I was blessed to be awarded the King of WooCar, and I have my, you know, my stuff here. And it was really, by the way, I think, so here's my little trophy, because that's all we had at the event. There's a, supposedly there's a giant one on its way, and I'll totally do a video for you guys. So I don't want to go into this too much, but I'll do a video for you guys around that. But not, seriously guys, this is, I have all kinds of awards from soccer and running and even in the business industry, different awards I've got. This is literally the most meaningful. I know it looks really ironic, like this little plastic, like, you know, 1-inch little trophy, but I mean this in all my heart. This is the most meaningful award that I've ever received in my life, and it's because of what it represents. And I've never seen so much growth in these last 4 months. And guys, we're the fastest growing team in an 11-year-old network marketing company, and a lot of us aren't even. And I say us. I've been a network marketer, and I'm a pretty good network marketer, but that's never where my greatest passion's been. My greatest passion's always been to help people become the best version of themselves, to serve people, to, you know, pour love, to pour inspiration, and gratitude is a huge. I've been more grateful in the past 4 months than ever, and I'm super grateful for what this represents. And for those of you that were there, thank you for the responsibility of what this means. I don't take it lightly, and I never will. And I have greatly been outside of my comfort zone many times in the last 4 months. In fact, more times than I've ever been in my entire life. But realizing that I take this as a responsibility, and there's been some really hard things I've done, but this little 5-cent thing, I sit this by my computer, and it's been a big source of responsibility, where I look down at this, I'm like, you know what? If the King of WooCar isn't going to step up and take care of this right now, then who's going to do it? And so I wasn't even going to talk about any of this stuff, guys. So what was the whole point of this video was to catch you up on things. And so I'm just massively grateful for what this means. And I know a lot of you guys, you don't even know what I'm talking about still. So I apologize for that. I should have given more context and background and everything. But you will be getting that in the coming you know, days, weeks, and everything. So one of the things I did want to say early on, and I didn't get to, so for those of you still here that are left, is one thing I realized. So where are we at today? Today we are, it's December 11th. We're looking back on a reflection of, you know, mostly I just stuck it to this year. You know, what can we expect as we go forward? So you can expect quite a few things. So one of the things is that I must communicate more regularly with you guys, and you guys being, you know, people on my list in my influence. I know some of you guys are in Team Inspire with me. Awesome. Some of you guys are in WooCar, which, by the way, guys, Team Inspire is my team. Team WooCar is the fastest growing team in this company called Doobly, the cashback thing. You've probably heard all about all that. And if not, great. I can send you videos, can educate you further. You'll be hearing all about it. But you're going to hear from me a lot more, because I could have taken just single hours of all these moments and really taught some amazing lessons and some amazing inspirational, educational stuff that will really help you. And you know, it's really, it really comes down to what I have to offer you is just that there's so many lessons and things that I haven't taken enough time. So one of the realizations I had, I was at this workshop last weekend, and I have a responsibility and a gift and a passion for communication, particularly around video and on stages, that I have so much more to grow and so much more to learn. And I've practiced so much. You know, what's interesting was, here's something actually really interesting. About a month ago, I had somebody tell me, and this was someone really, they've made millions of dollars in their life, you know, been really successful, and they were like, I was telling them how I want to become a better speaker and take some courses and stuff. And they said, dude, you don't need courses. What you need is just more practice, because you already have you have these natural gifts. You're already a natural speaker. Dude, and they didn't know where I came from. They didn't see my videos back in December of 2008 on this same camera, and I won't be on the same camera for long. I'm getting an even better one. But guys, the whole point of that is so I can deliver even better education, better entertainment. If the picture quality looks better and things are happening better, it's going to keep you engaged more, and then I can better get into your heart and teach you the lesson so you can become the very best version of yourself, because that's my real intention behind everything I do. So I started to talk about, you know, that's really a big focus of mine, and I know I've developed some gifts around speaking and even entertaining. I've done all kinds of crazy stuff. You know, some of you guys have seen me dress up and do crazy stuff over the years, if you've been around for the last couple of years. And all I have to say is you haven't seen nothing yet. You haven't seen anything about my ability to deliver amazing information and lessons, and also my ability to shrink those down into a compressed format, which this video is not. This video wasn't a. This video was never intended to be that, but you will see some of that in the coming days and coming weeks. And so, if anything, what you're going to see is more communication out of me. So I want, you know, a lot of you guys have heard about that 10,000 hours thing. You know, it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert in whatever. So I have definitely talked for more than 10,000 hours. Not just on video, or definitely not on stages, which has been like a couple hours max on stages. And some people blows them away, where like, at the event where I was crowned king, that event, leading up to that event, I had literally been on stage in my entire life 3 other times. One time was back in 2009. It was for 45 seconds, a real quick speech, because I got to a rank in a company and I got to give a 45-second speech or something. I look back and that laugh, because I did some things okay, but God, I missed so many things. I messed it up so bad. Then fast forward, the next time I was on stage was June of this year, around that Amazon and drop shipping stuff. I was in front of about 1,500 people, 1,800, you know, a little under 2,000, and I think I had like 10 minutes and had basically no training. It was the second time in my life I was on stage, but had a lot of people say I was the best person on stage that entire weekend. And I did some good things. I definitely did some bad things, but even the guys that were up there along with me, they were like, dude, thank God I didn't have to follow you, because I had the whole crowd up on their feet like yelling. It was really cool. Like I'm pretty proud of what I did that day, especially considering I screwed so many things up. But I'm glad, you know, everything happens for reason and purpose, but we grow from everything. So when I do what I did that day, and I had a specific way, I didn't even present it right to the audience, but I had the audience up and people went crazy. And so anyway, that was awesome. I am proud of what was achieved, and that was cool. Then fast forward, the third time I was ever on stage, and the fourth and the fifth, and maybe even the sixth time I was on stage, was all at this event where I was crowned this king thing. And none of, guy, what's funny, going into that weekend event in November, I had zero plans to even be on stage. In fact, I went to Matt and said, dude, if you need me for anything, I'm more than happy to speak or do whatever, because I want to speak on stage, I want to improve. But he didn't even respond back with anything. So I was like, okay, I went in with an expectation to not be on stage the whole weekend. And it was life-changing. So I think one of the themes is like, dude, you don't ever know what's going to happen in your life. I had no clue I was going to be on stage 3 or 4 times that weekend. And so now I went from being on stage, leading up to that I've been on stage twice, now I've been on stage 5 or 6 times, and 3 or 4 of it was all in the same weekend. And I guess if you include being on stage, that I held my first team private event on Monday the 10th. Went awesome. Went amazing. It was beyond anything I dreamed it could have been. So I guess that was technically a stage. There were about 100 people in the room, and so I guess 6, 7 times, whatever. Does it even matter how many times, or does it matter? Like, here's the whole point of why I started to say that, guys, was I've had, like, so take that event in June where I had a lot of people tell me I was either the best or like I was the biggest influence. And of course the people who didn't think I was the best, of course they're not going to come up and tell me, dude, you were the worst, or I didn't like it. They just wouldn't tell me anything. So I'm not saying I was the best to 1,500 people, but to some people I made an impact that said they thought I was the best. That's what I'm trying to say. So what's amazing is that was only my second time ever being on stage in my entire life. So here's what I look at is that, you know, like I talked about early in August where I had that, you ever just had a moment where you just felt something and you knew it and you just had to go do it? So one of those things I felt in my life throughout my entire life is that I was designed to be some kind of communicator and speaker. And I am fully admitting I have countless things to learn. I've just learned so many new things that I am fascinated and excited to get to continue to test these things out and teach you a lot more about how we all work and how the things I've done and how that will bless you and what we can all learn, and you know, what has happened in my life and how those things impact you. And what if I can take one little lesson and deliver that to you in a way, or what if we can take a lesson that just goes out and changes the course of everybody in my sphere of influence, or, you know, what the heck are we even going to talk about in these coming minutes? You know, I am super excited to continue to learn all these techniques and to apply them, because it's one thing. Success equals skills multiplied by action. So if I'm going to be a successful, powerful communicator, then I can't just learn a bunch of skills. I have to take action on them. And while I do take action on them on calls for my team and one-on-one phone calls all day long and all the stuff I've been doing, I also am guys, I feel like I'm called to be some kind of communicator. And I even had someone I don't remember where this came from. Someone in the past month or so was like, hey Jason, has anybody ever told you need to be they said I should be a pastor or a minister or something like that. It was, no, I've rarely had, I don't know if I've ever had anybody tell me that, but, And that's not what I don't feel called to be that, but I do feel called to be somebody who's a powerful communicator who can help you become the best version of yourself. And that's really the whole purpose of everything. So one of the seeds I wanted to plant here was to let you guys know you will be hearing from me more on a regular basis. And I was even inspired from a little lesson yesterday from a guy that has been very successful with direct sales and home-based business, and they've really been successful around internet marketing and growing a gigantic list. And one of the things in a private conversation yesterday, guys, I could take just yesterday alone and teach you lessons for about 5 hours around all the things I took. Literally, that's how much growth. I'm not exaggerating in any way, guys. I could take so many lessons from just yesterday alone. We could go talk about them for at least 4 or 5 hours straight, and I could teach you amazing lessons. One of those little nuggets, and one of the things that inspired some things and made me look at like what I'd been doing, things I had done. Like in 2013, I did like over 100 videos at least. I did a video at least every 2 or 3 days. And I remember there was a lot of growth in my speaking and communication abilities that year. And because I've learned so much new skills lately, I need to put them into a lot of practice like I did in 2013. So this guy yesterday, super successful, and one of the things he said was, I regularly communicate with my list like 3 to 4 times a week, like all the time. That's why this guy can get on stage and he sounds so good all the time. This guy wasn't at that event in June, or I would not have been probably the best guy. He probably would have been, because he is better on stage than I am. And he's also way more practiced. I alone have seen him on stage 12 times or more. So who knows throughout his life how many times he's been on, probably hundreds of stages. So I realize I need to have a lot of practice and to put in I need to get 10,000 hours on stages as fast as possible. So I need to do that with you guys on this. By the way, guys, this is a version of a stage, even though it's not really a stage. It's kind of hard for me to like point out things and be as visual as I'd like to with you guys. By the way, you've probably never even seen me this hairy ever. So if I'm like super hairy right now, this is not the hairiest I've been, but in the last 4 months, I've been hairier. I've carried hair on my face over the past 4 months more than ever in my entire life. Just like I've worked more in the last 4 months than ever in my entire life. Just like I've made more money in the last 4 months than any couple years in my entire life. Just like I've gone through more leadership and spiritual and physical and mental growth in the past 4 months than ever in my entire life. And again, the caveat on the physical thing is it's all physical nutrition, stretching my belief levels of what I know is physically possible, not out running, and I'm not the physically strongest I've ever been for sure, but I am in physically like really healthy condition, which is amazing considering my workouts have dropped by at least 75%, maybe 85%. So in the past 4 months, and so one of the things moving forward, guys, is for me to find better balance overall. And I'm not a balance kind of guy. For those of you that don't know that, I am not like, oh, let me from 7 to 8 in the morning do this, and from 8 to 9 in the morning do this. I was just talking with, maybe I better not say their name because maybe some of you don't think this is a good thing, but I was talking with literally one of my mentors, one of my greatest mentors of my life yesterday, and I was just saying how I'm not a scheduled or structured kind of dude at all. And they were just like, dude, that's, something else you and I have in common is I am not at all structured ever. And guys, this is, this is probably one of the last lessons because I'm trying to close this video out. This is pretty important. So I know some of you are more structured and scheduled, and you're probably not still listening on the video if this is you, because you probably got pissed somewhere along the way because I'm jumping all over the place. I'm even jumping from like August back to early, all the way back to today, back to September, and jumping around. And I know that frustrates a more structured or scheduled person, more detail-oriented person. So let me tell you that the person I was just talking to yesterday is very much wired like me with structure and schedule, and like, dude, put your head down, just kill it for as many hours or days straight, and forget about sleep and everything else, and just get the job done, and then worry about, oh, dude, I have to pay bills. Well, maybe, I mean, I haven't had to, but because I put systems in place, but like, that's how I've always been. Like, oh crap, I forgot I have to go. It's a Wednesday, my kids get out early. I forgot to go pick them up at school, and the school's calling in the middle of a video like, dude, wife won't answer her phone, Jason's not answering his phone, kids are stuck at school, like, what are we supposed to do? That's the kind of life I live, where some of you I know, like, you know exactly if your kid was getting off school, you would never be late. It's like you have this exact structuring schedule. I don't roll like that. And here's the whole point. Because you have strengths. If you're that scheduled, structured person and you're the opposite of me, that's totally cool. Because we can all put systems in place that make us better. Just like I have creative and abilities to make a decision in the moment, and I have intuitions that I can act on, that some people who are more structured and scheduled don't have that creative ability. So we all have strengths and gifts and weaknesses and all this stuff. We all need to come together and use all those. None of us are better or worse than anybody else. But here's the whole point. I want all of us thinking outside the box. I'm not perfect, guys. You're not perfect. And so what I'm trying to say is, some of you, if you are more structured and scheduled, I want you to realize you don't have to be like that to be like crazily successful. Because the person I was talking to yesterday that is not at all structured or scheduled has made 9 figures. Has done just amazing things. I'm not even going into their lifetime achievements, but they're one of the biggest, most amazing thinkers I've ever met. But yet I also know some other people that are very structured and scheduled that are also uber successful. So what I'm just trying to tell you is, your way is not always the best way. Just like I am very rarely so adamant about a certain way of being that I won't like try on something new. I'm one of the most flexible people I've ever met in my entire life, and that's pretty cool. I'm glad I've met myself, but I've been told that a lot of feedback from the outside world. And I really believe in that. And so one of the, I guess the lesson I want to teach you here on this is that I encourage you to be flexible, whether that's being more structured, like less structured and scheduled and try to just wing it and figure out what happens and see what kind of things come out of that, or whether that trying something new is like, for me, I need more structure and schedule, and like more somewhere in the morning hours I need to do a team call at least 4 or 5 days a week, and I've done it for the last few days in a row. I'm super excited about that. That is a version of structure. So and I would say schedule, but one call happened at 8 a.m., one of them happened at 10:30 a.m. or something. So I know my life works way better, and I'm way more efficient, and I get way more done if I don't lock myself into an exact time zone every day, an exact time to do this or that or that. Now, with all that said, I know I can set priorities way better, because yesterday I took a call from somebody that is someone important in my life, business relationship, even a friend, definitely a friend. And it was supposed to be a 5-minute call on the way while my wife and I are driving out to do a real quick, like, couple-hour lunch date. Well, I made a big mistake ever answering that call, because an hour later, 50 minutes later, I'm getting off the phone. We were at this restaurant. My wife had been by herself the whole time while I was pacing around, and I thought she was off having fun. Little did I know she was off getting super pissed that we only had 2 hours, and I ruined the first almost hour of it. And then so we find that we sit down to eat, and she's like so mad that there's no way we're going to have a good hour in this public place. So I said we should leave, and we didn't. It was not good. I made a major mistake answering that call. Now, I'll also share the reason I answered it was because this person had been trying to get me on the phone for at least a few weeks, and I've literally been so busy I haven't been able to touch. So the first thing they said was, "Oh man, it only rang twice and I can't believe you answered your phone." And so I felt I wanted to serve them, and I did serve them, and I really helped that relationship, and I helped their leadership out, and I helped them get a perspective and everything. And some amazing things came out of that, guys, even some things that are going to play out in these coming hours. But I damaged relationship with my wife. So just because I'm this unbalanced guy, obviously I could have done things better, and I'll tell you one of the lessons I got out of that, which is a lesson I've held really strong for months and months now. And that's why this gentleman, when they called me, said, "I can't believe you answered your phone." That's the most common thing I hear people say, and it's because it's their way of saying, like, "Dude, I wish you would answer your phone more when I call." Well, dude, if you're that person, or all the other dudes that say that thing when I answer, the reason is because I literally have hundreds of people trying to reach me every day, and I literally have things to honor, like my marriage with my wife. And I'll tell you another lesson I learned yesterday was that my wife will continue to come first, because I put her first the majority of the time. I make mistakes like yesterday, and she's forgiven me for that too. It took a couple hours and it sucked big time, but it was a really great reminder that I am going to set extremely clear expectations. And that wasn't a call that I was able to paint. There was no way that was going to be a 5-minute call, even though they said I just need a few minutes. Actually, that's not what they said. I was supposed to have another call. I called the person. They didn't answer. This other call came in literally in the middle of that. As I'm getting in the car, I'm like, "Hey, I have 5 minutes. Let me answer it." I didn't set the expectation of, "Hey, I only have 5 minutes. I'm here with Kim. We're going out on a date." That's where I screwed up. So I know a more detail-oriented person would have set that expectation perfectly up front. So what's the lesson? I need to set better expectations immediately, even if it's spontaneously in the non-planned moment on an incoming call that happened in the place of another leader that was trying to call that didn't answer, even though they were supposed to answer because they had asked me to call them. So, so now there's guys, I could go on forever. I'm not perfect. I love you so much. I appreciate you accepting all my flaws and all my shortcomings, and I truly hope that we were able to reconnect somewhere in here. And I don't expect you to stay on to the end of this. I know some of you want to and choose to, because I continue to provide value and entertainment. And I know there's some of you that were too busy and you're not here anymore, or maybe you scrubbed parts of the video. You have no idea what I'm talking about when I talk about Crown the King, or I talk about getting in a T-bone car accident. You're like, "Dude, are you okay? What's happening?" Well, that was the part you skipped over in the middle, or you zoned out because you're at work or whatever you're doing. So guys, I just appreciate you. I'm very grateful for you being in my life in any capacity. Thank you for all the challenges and the questions, and thank you for allowing me to serve you and just serve out what I feel I'm here to do on earth. So I'm just so grateful for you being here. And another thing, I wish I would have started this video with way more gratitude. I had something different in mind, and I forgot to throw in how grateful I really am, because that's been, if there's one overlying theme above and beyond all this massive growth, is that I've been more grateful over these last 4 months than I've ever been, even for the really painful parts that I've been through. And that includes, I've been through the biggest, most painful business lessons of my entire life in these last 4 months. And I'm grateful for them, because they've allowed me to greatly grow, big time grow, as a leader, as a person, as a husband, as a friend, as a mentor, as a servant, as a contributor to the world. So grateful for you guys. Love you so much. I have some huge things coming, including a video that you're gonna see a video from me that I literally paid $7,000 for. You're gonna see that somewhere in these coming weeks. It might even be within a few days, but I'll just say a few coming weeks. And literally every person who's watched that video, they're in tears, they're completely inspired, and it's pretty much like watching an amazing Hollywood video in a matter of minutes. Like an amazing Hollywood blockbuster, not a Hollywood video. I'm talking about a movie that like you're all over the place, like throw that into a few minute video I paid $7 grand for. You will not want to miss that when that comes out. So that's one little thing, guys. I have dozens of things to roll out for you. So you will be hearing from me more. I appreciate you so much. And until next time, guys, to your ultimate success, God bless. And I am massively grateful for your time and for your growth. Please go out and continue to be the very best version of yourself.